This is the Tyler Morgan Show on Relentless Dairy Media Network.
Welcome to the land of bourbon and bad decisions, where the nights are long and the truth cuts deep. Voices rise against the tide with clear intentions in a place where freedom never sleeps. Echoes of the past in the halls of tomorrow. The light will chase away the whispers of sorrow. Stand tall, never bow, the fight's just beginning. With every word, the fire keeps on spinning. After all, you got a message for the nation. Raising up the flag with no hesitation. Through the storm, the fire burns bright. On the edge of reason, we defend our rights.
Welcome back to the land of bourbon and bad decisions. This is the Tyler Morgan Show live on twitch.tv/Tyler Morgan Show and youtube.com/@the Tyler Morgan Show. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, all that happy stuff that I just don't have the energy to do like these young kids. And smash that like button, brah. I can't even make this. Oh, there's the graphic coming up. I don't know. He doesn't like to click on me sometimes. I don't know why, but yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're new to it and you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you're a podcast listener checking out for the first time, be sure to subscribe or follow, depending on whatever your podcast platform of choice calls it, and then rate, review, share, all the good stuff. Before we get into the talking about the Second Amendment news that came out earlier this week, let me talk to you about coffee. Yes, coffee, my favorite beverage. And I know I've got all those whiskey bottles above my head and that bottle of moonshine up there, but coffee is by far my favorite beverage. And my favorite coffee comes from the fine folks at American Pride Roasters. American Pride Roasters is a small company that roasts and grinds to order your coffee. Check them out today, either the link in the show notes or that QR code up there in the corner, and check out their fine selection of just plain old coffee flavored coffees, or maybe there are other flavored coffees. I highly recommend, as far as flavored coffees go, the George Washington Carver peanut butter chocolate blend. It's like a peanut butter flavored coffee. Then they added chocolate on top of it for a new blend that is just chef's kiss. Absolutely love it. I didn't think I would, because I'm not a flavored coffee person. I got it. I tried it, and absolutely amazing. 100% recommend. Again, and the regular coffees, they're just blended, different blends of the beans they get in. I see so many good ones. The George Washington, the Teddy Roosevelt, the Golden Spike. If you're into dark roast coffees, I'm not. And the Golden Spike is actually surprisingly good for someone who doesn't really care for dark roasted coffee. I don't like my coffee to taste burnt, and their dark roast coffee does not. So check out all the great stuff over there at American Pride Roasters. American Pride Roasters, aprcoffee.com. Historically great coffee. All righty then. So, big 2A news happened this week. Last week, really it happened last week, but the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has ruled that in the case of people who are purchasing silencers or suppressors, they want to use the technical name for them. Silencers, the colloquialism. If you're buying a suppressor, you do not need to fill out your Form 4 or do any of the background check or any of that, because those items, because all that paperwork was a registration that showed that, yes, you paid your tax. And you had the used to be a $200 tax on these items to get it registered, make it legal. And then once your tax stamp came through, you'd use that paperwork and register it with the Form 4. Well, the Court of Appeals has ruled that, whoa, hold on a second. If the tax is zero, then what are you showing that you paid through the Form 4? Because that's what the Form 4 was basically saying this item is registered and as proof as a proof that you paid the tax. Well, if there's no tax, then this is just a registry, and registries have been declared, a federal registry has been declared unconstitutional. And so now this applies to a very limited scope of the public. I wish that I, as not a member of GOA, could go drop $600, $700, whatever, on a suppressor for any of my weapons. Unfortunately, I do not qualify for that because, again, it's a very narrow scope ruling. And when it came out, usually in these rulings where the ruling goes against the government, well, regardless, there's a 7-day window before these rulings go into effect to allow the losing side to file their appeal. In this case, the losing side was the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice said, yeah, we cannot in good faith make an argument against the constitutionality of this, because the whole idea of a registry is unconstitutional. So we're not going to challenge this. And it's got all the crazy people, all the same crazy people you would expect, all up in arms because, oh my God, people are just going to be going out and buying suppressors and short barrel rifles and short barrel shotguns all willy-nilly. And then there's going to be so much death in the streets. Oh my God. No. And here's what people don't get. Like here in the United States, suppressors are so scary. Oh my God, they're awful. How dare you? You go to Europe. I wish I could do the really good Pat Gray voice. But in Europe, if you go to Europe and you want to buy a suppressor for your firearm that you have jumped through all the legal hoops to be able to own, to be able to purchase, and to keep it stored at another facility away from you. But I digress. You go jump through all the hoops that you have to in Europe to purchase a firearm. And then you decide you want a suppressor. You can go to the sporting goods store and go, I want that one. And they pull it off the shelf, they hand it to you, you pay for it, and out the door you go. The suppressors in Europe have much more constitutional protection than they do in the United States. And this whole idea that, what is or isn't considered a firearm in the United States is kind of crazy, because you have courts that argue a 30-round magazine, which for an AR-15 is a standard magazine. Well, that's not a firearm, so it can be regulated. It does not run afoul of the Constitution. It's just a key critical component of the firearm, though, to handle the rounds that go in it. Sure, you could maybe get away with a 20-round magazine but like a 10 round for these places that had the high capacity magazine bans. That's just it's ridiculous. Or you're like California, and California compliant AR-15 is a 10 round internal magazine that you cannot remove from the weapon, and you pretty much have to reload. You have to stop, lock the bolt to the rear, pop the rear retaining pin, open it up, push your 10 rounds in, close it up, then release the bolt and carry on, which I guess that's a way to do it. It's a dumb way to do it, but it's a way to do it. But the silliness, and the same thing with the handgun magazines, or even like some states, they put restrictions on how many shotgun shells can fit in the tube magazine of a shotgun. Now, I get it, and deer season and duck hunting and other prairie fowl or waterfowl, you can only hold 3 rounds in your gun. Period. 1 in the tube, 2 in the magazine, and okay, it keeps you from buying a 7+1 capacity and loading it up with double up buck slugs or your preferred turkey rounds or bird hunting rounds, and just blam 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 blam. I get it. I get that. Makes sense to me. But for general purposes of, I want to have a shotgun that is locked and cocked and ready to rock for home defense. Maybe I want that, those extra rounds, because you never know. As I said on the show before, if someone's breaking into your house in the middle of the night, the likelihood of a really, really bad intent, not just they want to steal your crap, but the likelihood that they want to do bodily harm to you or your spouse or your kids, if they're breaking into your house at night when they know you're home, it goes way up. So you want to have that shotgun ready to go, short barrel otherwise. I mean, face it, the minimum length barrel on a shotgun, even if you have a collapsible stock on it, it still takes up space when trying to like maneuver through your home in a ready stance. So the idea of a short barrel shotgun or a short barrel rifle for home defense, so that way you can, clear doors and maneuver through your home without hanging the barrel up on stuff. It's a great idea. Brilliant tactical decision. And being forced to get permission from the government to own such a thing, it's ridiculous. You should never have to go on bended knee to the government in order to exercise your rights. And and the people say, well, you're not asking that much. Okay, I have a question for you people who say that you should do this for guns because guns scary, guns dangerous. Remember the saying, the old saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. Revolutions have literally been started because of people writing down ideas and sharing them. The American Revolution was started by people writing letters to King George. And when that got no purchase, they started writing pamphlets and releasing them to the public in general until they built up enough of a movement to get a congressional Congress put together and declare independence. Look at the bad revolutions that have happened because of a pen. Especially those following the writings of one Karl Marx. Karl Marx used his pen to advocate for a socio-political and economic system that, since its implementation in actual government, has killed over 100 million people around the world. That is more people than individuals owning guns. And a lot of those people who died in that 100 million, they were disarmed. The only people who had guns were the government officials in Russia, in China, in Cuba, in Venezuela, and insert communist country here that had a massive, massive murder spree by the government. The people who had the guns were the government. The people did not have a means to defend themselves from that government taking over and slaughtering them. Look at Iran right now. In Iran, it is damn difficult for people to get a firearm. And what's it? It's just this last spring, there were like 50,000 or more protesters who, because they couldn't have guns to defend themselves against the IRGC thugs, they were slaughtered for daring to say that maybe the Ayatollah should be dethroned, his puppet president should be dethroned, and we should have legitimate, democratically elected government in Iran. But, you know, the people owning guns is the bad thing in America because, oh my God, have you seen the number of children who are killed? It's just like ridiculous. Guns are the leading killer of children in America. No, it's not. No, it's not. The only reason that the leftist anti-gun crazies can get away with saying that is because the statisticians who created these numbers, they took the number of children and all-cause mortality from 1 year old to age 17. They took that cohort and then they added 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds, adults. They added adults to that younger cohort. I cannot speak. I've only had one beer this evening. I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar right now. This is not a paid endorsement by Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar, if you would like to endorse me, please contact me. My email will be in the show notes, I believe. But they take these two other ages that are legally adults and they add to it because for 17, 18-year-olds, so many of them die from gunshots because of, oh man, what goes on with 17, 18, 19-year-olds? They're getting shot all the time. Gang violence. Gang violence. There is so much gang violence killing these 18 and 19-year-olds that it drives up, or I should say it drives down the leading causes of death for ages 1 to 17. And then they take all those other gun deaths from 16 years worth of living people who have died and just overwhelms everything. Now, I'm pretty sure, though, that the number of 1 to 17-year-olds is still lower than this 18, 19-year-olds combined. If I'm not mistaken, I don't have the numbers right in front of me where I can look at it, but it's legitimately appalling. I've said for a long time, and I maintain it, that Democrats love to use dead children as a soapbox. Any time there's any sort of tragedy involving children and guns, they grab these still warm, bleeding corpses and they stack them up, smear the blood all over themselves, and they say, "Look at this tragedy. Oh, this is bad." It's like, dude, parents haven't even had a chance to grieve their children yet. And here you are, just acting like these are sacrificial lambs who were slaughtered just so you can offer them up to the God of big government that doesn't want us to have rights, that doesn't want us to have the rights that we and our founders say that we automatically have, regardless of any government. Because as much as the left wants to call the right burgeoning theocracy with white Christian nationalists, you want to rule by the Bible, you have your own theology. You have a closer, the left has a closer understanding of the true theocracy that fascism is. The whole everything of the state, by the state, for the state. The state is their God in fascism. And the left wants the state to be God. The state can never do wrong. The state is the benevolent provider that your little Christian God, your little Hindu God, your little Jewish God, your little Muslim God pretends to be. None of those gods are real, but the state is the ultimate God. The state is the ultimate provider from the left. And it is sickening to think that, again, you should have to go on bended knee to their God and ask about rights that are guaranteed by our Constitution. Because no one would fold and just go, "Oh, well, you just got to do it because that's the law." If you had to suddenly register with the government to start a Facebook page. It's bad enough. You want to start a church, you got to file paperwork to make sure that your church is tax exempt. Your church has to be recognized. You want to start a new religion, you have to file paperwork with the government to ensure that your religion is recognized by the government as a legitimate religion. Now, don't get me wrong, I think there are some crazy illegitimate religions that exist solely to poke religion in the eyes. The Pastafarian religion that exists just to make fun of everyone else. The Church of Satan is a recognized church by the federal government, and even they're like, yeah, we really don't believe in the existence of Satan. We believe in the religious credo of you do you, boo boo, and life without consequence. And that's religion. Nearly every other religion has tenets based on loving your neighbors and caring for others. Christianity, the 10 Commandments of the Old Testament can be summed up into 2 commandments given in the Old Testament and through the mouth of Jesus as love God with all of your heart, mind, spirit, body, and love your neighbor as if he was yourself. Do those 2 things. You do those two things, and you're pretty much on the right path. And many, many other religions can be boiled down to those two commandments. Now, I'm not making an argument for pluralism, and it all points to the same thing. I'm making a general observation about many world religions. But the religion of the left, where the state is God, where you don't have to love your neighbor because, the government will do it for you. Yeah, you do have God given rights. You have to ask the government, who is our God, if you can exercise those. It's ridiculous. But hey, at least we're getting another win that gets us closer to not having to get permission from the God of the left, the God of state, to be able to purchase a firearm or a firearm accessory, such as a short barrel, or to modify your weapon to have a short barrel without first getting permission from the great and powerful Uncle Sam. All righty. Before I get into some other stuff here, I need to tell you about find the right button to click. That's not the right button to click. That's the right button to click. Let me tell you about Charmed Envy Creations. Charmed Envy Creations is a nice, lovely, small little company started by my wife like 3 years ago. And it all started because she asked me to build a wristlet keychain with silicone beads. Ah, yes, that was those halcyon days of, this is an annoying craft, but okay, I will do this for you because I love you and you asked me nicely. And that turned into someone saw it and said, oh, that's really cool. Can you make me one? Then someone else said, can you make me one? Then someone else said, hey, can you get these pins that you can just put the cool stuff on? And they're beaded pins, which turned into more beaded stuff, which turned into setting up at craft fairs and having a booth at a flea market. And now we do this. She does this full time. She left her job teaching to do this full time. And now you can go to her website. Again, the link in the show notes or that QR code. If I figure out which way to point my finger, what do I do with my hands? Use that QR code in the corner of the screen. Check out our shop today at charmedec.com. Check out our lineup of enamel pins and badge reels that we decorate and design. If you're local to our area, we do local pickup. We do local delivery, or we can ship it out to you nationwide. Again, check us out today at charmedec.com. I will use the code Tyler10 to save 10% on any order over $30. I will go in, make sure that code is still active. That way you can get your savings. So check us out today, charmedec.com. All righty. So more and more fun and crazy to report on. Let's see. There's the BBC trying to subpoena the Trump family. What we got here? No, we want to do private browsing. Ah! All right. See what else we got. Ah, Harvard. Yeah, let's talk about Harvard real quick. You know how Harvard, possibly one of the largest endowments of any university in the country, possibly even the world, with billions upon billions of dollars stacked, socked away, that they use they invest it and they use that return to make their endowment bigger, that they invest some more and they make it bigger. And yeah, it's crazy. It just keeps feeding itself. But we should have free secondary education. Oh, okay. Okay, trustees at Harvard. How about you pay everybody's full college tuition for 4 years coming in now? See how much that actually sets you back for all the freshmen. Pay for the next 4 years, and see how you can PR that into donations. Well, they have been getting donations, but maybe not legal ones. All right, so this is reporting from Just the News. Congress says Harvard built a nonprofit to dodge foreign gift disclosure law. Lovely. Harvard University operates a nonprofit that accepts research grants from foreign governments that the university itself cannot take based on law. Harvard is required to disclose to the public and federal government any foreign income reaching the university through the nonprofit Harvard Global. But investigations from the U.S. Department of Education and House Education and Workforce Committee have found the university not always transparent in its reporting. Harvard created an entity in a blatant attempt to get around federal foreign funding disclosure laws. That's unacceptable, especially given Harvard's history of failing to comply with these requirements. The American people deserve to know where the foreign money is flowing into our college campuses. Education and Workforce Committee Chairman Tim Walberg, a Republican from Michigan, said in a press release announcing the result of the investigation. Section 117 of the Higher Education Act requires universities receiving federal funds to report any gifts or contracts with foreign sources worth more than $250,000 or more from any single source in a calendar year. Universities must report this information even if the money passes through a separate legal entity if the money provides a benefit to the university. A Harvard University spokesman told Just the News that it shares the committee's concern about national security. Harvard follows national security standards and guidance set by the federal government for its international collaborations. Additionally, where appropriate, federal agencies who are best able to assess real-time national security risks work with Harvard just to put in place agency-approved risk mitigation measures for federally funded research, the spokesman said in an email. Harvard disagrees with the report's mischaracterizations that fail to reflect the university's documented record of compliance, cooperation, commitment to protecting and advancing U.S. interests. I hate when I'm trying to read something. I'm doing the voice, but then my phone's just like, I'm going to be here. 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 Makes me pine for the days when I had a printer in this office. So I could just print off the story and read it off a piece of paper. And then I could angrily shake the paper with the microphone like I used to do back in the day. Oh, you don't get those days back, I swear. So Harvard disagrees with the report's mischaracterizations that fail to reflect the university's documented record of compliance, cooperation, commitment to protecting and advancing U.S. interests, national security, and global standing, the spokesperson said. Harvard Global lists operations in Hong Kong, India, Ireland, Israel, South Africa, Tunisia, the United Arab Emirates, the United Kingdom, and the United States. It was created in February 2012, years before the Education Department began the enforcement push that has now twice reached Harvard. In April 2025, the U.S. Department of Education initiated a records request from Harvard after it found the university provided incomplete and inaccurate disclosures regarding its foreign funding. Because I get it. Foreign governments have an interest in you because they send students to Harvard. It's like you're in the United States and you want to go to Oxford University. That's a prestigious university, regardless of what you study there. You can study underwater basket weaving at your local community college, and it's like, oh yeah, you got your associates in underwater basket weaving from your town community college. Congratulations, loser! But if you get a bachelor's and a master's and your doctorate in underwater basket weaving from the prestigious halls of Oxford University in England, well then, you're just the have the highest repute amongst basket weavers in the world because you went to Oxford. Yes, even the basket weavers from Harvard can't hold a candle to the basket weavers from Oxford University. And so, there's obviously Rhodes scholarship to go to Oxford, and other opportunities. And if you can get a federal student loan to attend Oxford, holy crap! Congratulations! You just gave our tax dollars to England, you jerk. But yeah, so it, it's no it's no surprise that foreign governments want to partner with Harvard. Harvard has a really good research hospital, really good research university. I'm not going to denigrate them on that at all because, again, it's Harvard. I make fun of it for being a really expensive Ivy League school, but again, their research facilities are top notch. There's a reason they're a number one. They're like a top 10 research university in the country. So you get foreign students who want to go to Harvard. And if you want to kind of grease the wheels, maybe offer a little study money from a foreign government to help get more kids from your country into that university. Just saying. But there's a legal way to it. And what the study found is that this technically a third party has been getting the money. And then technically a third party then gives a big chunk of that to the school. And the school's like, we didn't do nothing wrong. As a recipient of federal funding, Harvard University must be transparent about its relations with foreign sources and governments. Unfortunately, our review indicated that Harvard has not been fully transparent or complete in its disclosure, which is both unacceptable and unlawful. U.S. Secretary of Education Linda McMahon said in a statement, This record request is the Trump administration's first step to ensure Harvard is not being manipulated by or doing the bidding of foreign entities, which includes actors who are hostile to the interests of the United States and American students. The Seven Sons of National Defense. The House Select Committee on China, which also contributed to the latest investigation into Harvard's ties to the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, found that researchers affiliated with Harvard co-authored more than 140 publications with researchers affiliated with a group of Chinese universities referred to as the Seven Sons of National Defense, Fox News reported. The Seven Sons are identified by the Pentagon and U.S. officials as a network of universities that are central to China's defense, research, and military modernization. Oh, goody. The report also found that Harvard received more than $600 million under Section 117 reporting, more than any other American university. Harvard is not accused of doing anything illegal, but the House committee did suggest that Harvard's relationship with Chinese researchers has put American national security at risk by allowing China to advance its military capabilities. It's like people who, I don't remember what company it was, but they built a dual use product. And by dual use, I mean military and civilian applications for vibration dampeners. And it was ideally designed for jet engines or for jet aircraft. So that way, like the radios and the instruments can be mounted, and the turbulence of flying, as well as the vibration and buzz of the jet engines running, wouldn't shake apart the internal components and cause failures. Well, they were having it built in China, which is dumb because you get the schematics and how to design these particular mounts, these particular dampeners on them, and you can figure out, you see where you're shipping them to. Oh, this is going to the Boeing F-35 facility in St. Louis. Okay. And so then because it's also, again, dual use, because it can also be used in civilian aircraft. It can be used in civilian vehicles to, again, reduce vibration and the long-term effects of vibration on critical electronic components. So China says, hey, we're going to start using this dual-use technology that's being made in our country, and we have the schematics for, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. And so they do the same thing with this research at Harvard or anywhere else where they're funneling money into. It's the whole idea of money with no strings attached. Yeah. If you're getting money from China for any reason, whether it is research, whether it is to ensure that your shoes are tied a specific way every day, there are strings. And China will gladly yank those strings the moment they think they can get something good out of it. And it is utterly ridiculous that we have schools that look at their relationship with China. I mean, that's like one of the big things about when it was found Joe Biden had classified documents that he took either from the White House as vice president or from the Senate SCIF when he was still Senator Biden. And he was storing them in a filing cabinet in his offices at the Wharton Business School at Penn. Okay. That's sketchy. Oh, and you know what else? You use that same office building and had access to his offices? Oh, teachers with ties to the Chinese Communist Party. But yeah, Donald Trump had him locked up in a bathroom at Mar-a-Lago. Look at how bad it was for the country. At least they're locked up in an interior room and not like just piled up in the garage next to the Corvette. Oh, damn, who was that again? Oh, it was Joe Biden again. Son of a buck. One of these days, I'll figure it out. All right, so I guess I'll get into this whole BBC article. Well, the article's from Politico, but all right. So remember, I don't know if y'all remember. I don't know if I talked about it, but Donald Trump filed like a $10 billion with a B, $10 billion defamation lawsuit against BBC over video of January 6th that they released. With some clever editing that took out nearly 45 minutes of speech to make Donald Trump say something that he did not say during the speech that cast him in a very negative light, considering the riots of that day. So Trump said, whoa, this is demonstrably false. This is editing done intentionally to defame me. I'm suing you. All right, that's cool. Well, the BBC has doubled down, maybe even tripled or possibly even quadrupled down that Donald Trump had inside knowledge that this was going to happen. And so now, in our defense, we are going to subpoena all the Chillins, Ivanka Trump, Don Jr., Eric. We're going to sue them all. And so in the process, it's like, now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of the idea of people dodging subpoenas and process servers, but that's what the Trump kids are doing. They've been like, yeah, we're not home. Sorry. All right, so BBC seeks to subpoena Trump family members in defamation suit. The British broadcaster says Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Jared Kushner have relevant knowledge about the president's actions on January 6, 2021. The BBC is seeking to subpoena President Donald Trump's son, his daughter, and son-in-law in connection to the $10 billion defamation lawsuit the president is pressing against the UK broadcaster. Lawyers for the BBC said the Trump family members, quote, without question have personal knowledge, end quote, about President Trump's intention in delivering the speech at the heart of the case. His January 6, 2021 address to supporters at the Ellipse as the Capitol attack was getting underway. Yes, it's obviously a coordinated effort that he's going to tell people to stand up, to fight for your rights, and to peacefully protest. He was saying that as that was his trigger to start the riot. Ah! The president's lawsuit alleges that BBC documentary aired in the UK in 2024 defamed him by splicing together distant parts of the speech to make it sound like he was endorsing violence. The BBC has apologized for the editing, but denies that it is a valid ground for a suit. I'm sorry if I'm giving a speech and I'm using rhetoric about standing up for your rights and your beliefs. And I say things like you have to fight for it. And you edit it in such a way that, by sheer coincidence, there was a fight breaking out over these things as I'm speaking on it. And then someone takes the speech and they chop out 45 minutes in the middle of it to make it look like I am saying, go be violent, go do violence for your rights. Rah! That is intentional. That is intentionally changing the context of my speech in order to make it look like I was doing something that I was not, in order to make me look bad. That is the classic definition of defamation, BBC. You have to be effing high, or they're British. I was going to say high or British to be able to screw that one up. Maybe they're both high and British. Drawing largely on testimony gathered by the House January 6th committee, the BBC's attorneys say Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump were present as the president revised his speech and were on hand at the Ellipse as he spoke. Okay, yes. But knowing what he's going to say in the speech and being present when he gave the speech does not mean they have inside knowledge that Donald Trump was secretly using the speech to tell the attackers at the Capitol to start their assault at this specific time. The network's lawyers also say Kushner drafted a proposed statement for the president condemning violence. Yeah. Oh my God. A president makes a comment that is prepared. That has never happened ever in the history of the White House. The president giving prepared remarks on what they're going to what was that last line? Say. My contacts are starting to get a little dry and crusty. It's hard to focus. I apologize. Yeah, presidents give prepared statements all the time. Donald Trump is like the king of the off the cuff comment. Like his greatest off the cuff remarks ever was when he found out about the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and he was in utter shock. And he's just, wow, no, I didn't know that. That's really sad. She was a great lady. I didn't agree with her, but she was a great lady, and it's just really sad. And meanwhile, Tiny Dancers is like it's like Serendipitous is playing in the background. The subpoenas seek both deposition testimony and relevant documents from the Trump family members. Court filings indicate the BBC tried to serve the subpoenas at Kushner and Trump's home in Miami in May, but police blocked the attempt. Lawyer for the Secret Service, Troy Epstein, interesting, informed BBC's lawyers that by email that the agency could not accept the subpoenas. The United States Secret Service, as an agency of the United States government, is not authorized to accept service of these subpoenas for these individuals, nor can we opine on how you all may best facilitate or effectuate service of these subpoenas, Epstein wrote. Similar attempt to serve Donald Trump Jr. at the Trump Organization at Trump Tower offices in New York was also unsuccessful. In a motion filed Friday in federal court in Miami, the BBC's attorney said the president's lawyers also refused to accept subpoenas. The network is asking for the court to authorize service by mail or to order the service through President Trump's attorneys is adequate. Spokesperson for Trump's legal team responded Saturday to a request for comment. Quote, the BBC intentionally defamed President Donald J. Trump, and now the BBC is seeking to harass him, his family, and supporters by abusing the deposition process. The BBC is simply trying to distract away from their own obvious liability, the spokesperson said. And I think that's partially true. I mean, it's hard to argue like with a straight face that we didn't intentionally defame the president. That was just a poor choice in editing. Right. And the guy who drove down the sidewalk at Central Park several years ago on Halloween with it's just a weird coincidence that he didn't know what that black flag with the white writing in Arabic said, and he just took a wrong turn. He got on the path by mistake. He wasn't actually trying to commit a terrorist act. It was all just a clever misunderstanding. It's kind of funny when you stop and think about it for half a second. No. But the BBC was intentional. I get it. They don't like Donald Trump. But if you're using your organization to blatantly lie, I'm sorry. Like, I'll state my opinions on people on this podcast. But never, ever, ever do I ever portray someone as doing something they didn't actually do and try to pass it off as fact because I don't want to get sued. I ain't got a lot of money to fight off a big defamation suit. I mean, I can apologize and offer you. I can offer someone who accused me of defamation if they had a good case. I'm like, ooh, that sucks. Here's $20 and a partial bottle of rye whiskey to make this go away. I am sorry. I won't do that mistake again. Yeah, the whole idea that the BBC just this was just we're very sorry. We're very sorry. It was an honest mistake, chap. Next time we'll exert better editorial controls over what goes on with these documentaries. We really hate to make someone look bad. No, that's just admit it. Yeah, we didn't like Trump. We hated that We watched the whole speech, and there was nothing directly encouraging violence. So we fixed the problem. Took about 45 minutes out of the middle of the speech, but we fixed the problem, and now he's clearly encouraging violence. It's so dumb. Absolutely dumb that they think people can't see through the ruse. It's like the little kid finger painting on the walls. And you're like, what did you do? They got paint all over their hands. They look at their hands right in front of them. They look at you. They look at their hands. They look at the wall. Look at their hands. Look at you. Look at their hands. Look at the wall. Look at you. Look at their hands. They go, nothing. That's what the BBC is doing right now. They're looking at Donald Trump. They're looking at the clearly edited video made to make Donald Trump look worse, that he was calling for violence. Look at Donald Trump. They go, what? What did we do? I didn't do nothing. It's mind-boggling. Oh, I can't believe we did this episode without a single glass of whiskey. I guess I'll have to have one later when I get done. Anyways, I will wrap up the show for tonight. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Again, check this out on YouTube. And you've stuck around this long, be sure find the right buttons. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. You're a podcast listener, same 4 things every week for the podcast. Number 1, please subscribe or follow, because Apple iTunes is weird. You can subscribe on Apple iTunes. That's for paid content. I don't do that. Maybe one day I'll do paid content again. I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, subscribe, follow, whatever it calls it. After that, please rate the show. I'm looking for 5 stars. I'll accept 4, 3 and below. Please hit me up on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Fake Tyler Morgan. Send me a DM. They're open. Tell me why you think you need to give me 3 stars or less. I love constructive criticism. And if it can make the show better, construct away. I enjoy a good critiquing. Once you have a write a review, say something nice about the show that people see it pop up in by the algorithm, and they go, oh, people seem to generally like this show. Yeah, that's all you gotta do. General like. Nothing too crazy. Don't write some, 50-page dissertation on how awesome my show is. Well, that would greatly benefit my ego. I don't think it's going to help anyone want to listen to it on Apple iTunes. Anyways, you have subscribed, rated, and reviewed. Now, the final one is to share it. Send it to somebody you think will enjoy the episode. Send the podcast in general. Send a link to the podcast in general to someone who you think will absolutely love it. Send it to somebody you think will absolutely hate it. And they'll be mad at you because, why are you sending me this? And then they'll be mad at me because I'm the one providing the opinions they don't like. And I like being able to cause chaos. Chaos is fun. I thrive in the chaos. Again, thank you so much for listening. And as always, stay relentless.
The Tyler Morgan Show is a relentless daring media production. The Tyler Morgan Show is supported by its listeners. To support the show, go to ko-fi.com/Tyler Morgan Show to donate there, or relentlessdaring.com and hit the donate button at the top of the page to set up your donation. All music used in the Tyler Morgan Show is used with permission from purpleplanet.com, link in the show notes. 2 Timothy 1:7.